I'm working as a director of a design festival, and the first things I kind of wrote, since public matters is our theme. The moment you create or you are running a festival, you are public, so you're seen in public. You observe public because that's what you do. You try to constantly observe what's going on and decide what you want to do next in your projects. And you create public if you do a festival or exhibitions and so on, so you're also part of creating public opinion. I skipped that, but just keeping my focus, I originally studied design, but I taught design history and theory for a long time, and I'm a curator and writer. So my focus is product and furniture design, curating and writing, and it's certainly Europe's design scene much more than it is an international, even so I follow how much as good as I can, but I would say Europe is my field of expertise. In my profession, I'm dealing with man mainly, especially when I have to raise money, for example, for the festival. I have to negotiate all the sponsorship with man, usually, not with women. My team is mainly female, but we'll come to that later. I met many tough and inspiring women and equally inspiring men. I don't see a big difference there, but many men that consider design something frivolous and not so important. And I'm here not because I did any research or I published so much on gender design, because I just want to share my observations with you. This is our office. What you can't really see is, but I will show you, the majority of my team is female. This is my partner Lily Holland I'm running the festival with. And here I'm jumping to another image we already had front today by Loreen. I look at it from a little bit different point of view, and I'm sure they're talented, they're successful, but they also have a way, because we're talking about public and the observation in public, they're also they have a style and a way of presenting themselves. Like, I always remember me of the ABBA, only female ABBA team of today. So I wonder why this is necessary if what we really are interested in is their quality of work. Obviously, I would argue, and I can say that at least for sure for, let's say, Austrian media, public scene, journalism, good-looking girls are published easier than, maybe also not easier than good-looking men, but easier than not so well-styled girls, I would argue. So I wonder why this is necessary. This was Polka, it's an Austrian design team. This is Dotting's an Austrian design team. Of course, we had somebody important like Helle Jungerius, who I think is important for a reason, because on one hand I would argue, okay, there's a lot of ceramic, a lot of textile, a lot of all these things that are traditionally female connotated traditions or crafts or whatever, but as Lorraine already pointed out, she is doing work for KLM, or as I would point out, she's also working for Vitra in a very important position, so it's much more what she's doing than just that. And somebody important like Patricia, who again, if you look at her work, even so, is so successful, extremely good, but it's and it's furniture, strong furniture based, but everything has again this very, maybe that's the attraction it's about, yeah, being, sensual, warm, knitted in a way, or whatever. It's not the engineering part. She's known for, like, going into, aluminum casting or whatever, all these very classic male-connoted technologies. As, again, like Maroon, I take some of these famous women of the past, but not so much, we all know the one to the left to the left corner is Margarete Schütte-Lihotzky. She is an Austrian architect, and of course I had to put her there, she came from Vienna. And she was quoted, she made this famous Frankfurt kitchen, and she said, if I would have known that anybody would just ask me about this fucking kitchen, I would have never designed it. So, but you have Margarete Schütte-Lihotzky, Marianne Brandt, Lili Reich, or Charlotte Perriand, all great women. In that time, again, how do you want to be published? How do you want to be seen by the public audience? These women, most of them, especially in their young age, they chose a certain style of haircut to become more, not hybrid, I would argue, it was not existing then, but kind of being closer to a non-feminine look than maybe many other designers of that time. You don't have to read this. I'm just pointing out one classic thing. Every year we make a project at the festival called Passionswege, where we invite young designers from all over Europe to work on a project with manufacturing companies in Austria and Vienna particularly. And every year when I set up the list, when I start collecting names, then I come to a moment where I say, oh, what about the women? And I'm what Ute said as well. So I have a list of 10 already, much too many designers we can actually invite, because this year we're only going to invite 6, and then I think, oh fuck it, again, where are the good ones? And then you have to start researching and look much more closely. So why is that still? So I made a little statistic. The Vienna Design Week team consists in total of 10 women and 4 men. Doesn't mean that they work full time for us, we're much smaller than that, but in the end during the festival that's how many people are working with us. So there's a team, it's about communication, it's about making design public, showing it, discussing it, giving it and making it accessible to a wide audience. It was founded by Thomas Geisler, Lily Holland and me. Thomas is now design curator at the MAC in Vienna. But he left us to continue his own career, so that's the statistic of the Vienna Design Week team. I compared this to the statistic of the Passionswege project, which we've done over the last 6 years, and I just, to give the final numbers, I come up with 56 projects we've done with designers in this particular format, 32% women, 59% man, and 9% mixed man and female teams. I feel privileged because I work in the cultural field, and I would say in general in culture, even so, I totally agree with Paola that on the level of directors, we don't have as many women, but to become a curator or writer or author or a lecturer seems to be easier than to become a professional designer in a male-dominated field. But on the other hand, as a curator or writer, we do co-form the public opinion. I wonder if designers, and that I don't agree with Loreen, that why do they stylize themselves like beautiful pop stars, and still they don't have the same, they don't have the ride girl power anymore that many pop stars in former times certainly had. In furniture, and also does it need 2 or 3 of them to be strong enough to survive in this business? Where the single, except Helen Jungerius was, let's say, a Patricia Occhiola, but in the younger generations, I see always they team up. What is the difference between female design heroines of the past to now, knowing that these women in the Bauhaus era, the 20s and the 30s, probably had a really tough time. It was not so easy for them, and it's our perception of today, looking at them, that makes them so special, but it was not that easy when they were alive and living and trying to survive. Marianne Brandt, for example, totally disappeared after she left the Bauhaus and went into an emigration, also due to political changes in Germany. So what is the difference? That's something I'm asking, the way we promote ourselves, present ourselves, sell ourselves. And what can we do if quality is all that matters? And if I'm not a therapist, and I don't want to be a therapist. And I have, when we do the festival, we have a lot of young female designers approaching us and talking to us, and then you lose them on the way, and I don't know why. I mean, they are strong and they're ambitious, and 3 years later they're gone. I once had an extremely frustrating moment when my former professor at the University of Applied Arts, Paolo Piva, published a book of his 25 years of teaching at his university, which should be forbidden, by the way, but that's another story. Anyway, he published his book, and so everyone that graduated under him was invited to say something about their curriculum. And I found a couple of curriculums of younger women than I am who studied there, and then put their curriculum in and talked about that their main life is raising their children, which I don't mind at all. I mean, it's a free world. Everybody can do whatever he wants, but I just don't see why I want to publish it in the book about design. I just didn't get it. Whatever. Back to the beginning. So people that are working in public, I think, are certainly role models and should speak up. I think that's the reason why we're here. I'm observing public, which does not always satisfy me, because it seems to me that the social connotation is still the same. So you push the way you look at certain people, whether male or female, you put them into the same drawers or boxes where you want them, or they always have been. I was talking about journalism and very classic media observation. But we are in the position to create public, and that's the reason why we're here, the writing, discussing, and teaching. And I personally totally believe that there's a big change going on with everybody born after the 80s, and these are you, so I really hope for that. Thank you.